This is a first impressions review of my new Kalour 72 colored pencil set, which I got on Amazon. They were on sale. They were 20% off, so they're regular $25, which ends up with tax being 38 cents per pencil. But they were on sale for $19.99, which ends up being $22.99 Canadian, which is 31 cents per pencil. After testing them out and deciding I like them, I also decided to invest in the 240 set because per pencil it's only 28 cents per pencil, which is the best deal I found. Even though I kind of did want the 300 set, it was more expensive per pencil. So I definitely enjoyed these right away. Now over time I have to see how they break, how fragile they are, and I haven't had huge breakage problems, but I also have had some breakage problems with them. They're fairly soft core, not as soft core as Prismacolor, but then again nothing is, but I enjoy the texture of them and the feel of them on paper. I enjoy the way they feel and move on the paper. I enjoy the way they look, and I like the color selection. And I definitely think that they're a very good addition to my color pencil collection because they do have certain colors that don't exactly match other colored pencils I have. After deciding I really did like them, I did already, as I say, upgrade to the 240 set, which I believe has all these pencils and additional colors, so at least it replaces all the ones here that I already got. I have to say the particular standout in this set are all the metallic colors, which by far are the best metallic colors I've ever seen in any colored pencil set. They're smoother, they don't have a scratchiness. A lot of other metallic colored pencils have a scratchiness to them and seem to be way paler than I want them to be. These ones are actually as rich and colorful and deep as I'd want them to be, just as deep and rich as the other regular colors, but are metallic. And there's some really nice unique metallics that other sets don't have. There's a metallic orange, there's a metallic turquoise color that are really, really, really nice. And so that's why upgrading to the 240 set was a good decision for me. Eventually I might get the 300 set if I have the money and if it's on sale so that the cost per pencil is very good. I have everything written down so I can make sure I don't accidentally get overcharged for them. It's good to keep a record in a book so that you know what the price should be and you wait for an actual sale and don't get tricked by fake sales where they claim the price is really good but it's actually only decent, or it's even bad but they pretend it's on sale. You know, artificially raising the price and then lowering it a couple days later. So it's a good idea to actually keep a physical written record that can't be messed with. In this case, I decided to draw an Art Nouveau style Velosa because I wanted to try it out with mixed media to see how waterproof the pencils are, because some pencils are more or less waterproof as well, and to test out how oily versus waxy they are, and to do lots of tests because I intend to use them mixed media. I'll ask you to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you're really enjoying my content. So here I'm using them to draw with. My favorite Castell dust-free eraser is good for erasing them. I find it good for erasing every single colored pencil from the oiliest to the waxiest. I also use a Tombow Mono Zero to help with erasing and my old Tough stuff. You can mostly erase them. They don't erase quite as well as some pencils that are built to be erasable, but they still can erase quite good if needed. So I feel like you shouldn't be too afraid to just try to sketch right in colored pencils. It's actually really nice to sketch in different colors, and I find it really nice for variety's sake. Now this picture is intended to be mixed media, so I'm also going to be testing watercolors on it in a moment because, as I've been saying, I intend to use these for mixed media artwork, although the only colored pencils I've been using on these artworks featured in this video will be these Kalour 72 set. I am using some watercolor with them to just see how they work. Now what I did find is that they seem to be quite waterproof, and so it's really good to use them as part of a mixed media with water-soluble media because you can get the lines to stay where you put them and they won't blend in with it. Now sometimes you want water-soluble pencils to be water-soluble, but they should be labeled as such. And I'm happy to say, based on all my tests on the paper I've tested it on, these seem to stay put where they're put and not bleed or blend out or get wet by the water. They seem to be quite waterproof, which I find to be really functionally useful. And if you have water-soluble pencils, you want to know that. You want them clearly labeled. So in this case, I would say they're really good as the sketching layer on the bottom, and they're really good to put on top. So overall, they're really good for mixed media with colored pencil. I just put a few more details here before moving on to testing it out on different papers rapidly. Now the upcoming sketchbooks are all from Dollarama, but they have different papers. There's different paper types from the dollar store sketchbooks in Canada. And this one here, I believe, is the black covered one, which is off-white, warm, sort of off-white paper. And I'm just testing out a lot of the colored pencil here. I erased a bird above that I didn't particularly enjoy. So this is almost exclusively with the Kalour pencils, but also I'm going to do a quick watercolor wash around here on the eyeball itself and for the skin. And yes, it seems like the colored pencil is really quite waterproof. I take out the premium drawing sketchbook I also got from Dollarama. I find watercolors quite bright on this, but I also think they work in a weird way. It's not built for them. But colored pencil looks amazing on this paper, and it is in fact particularly good for all colored pencils, and the Kalour also works really well on this paper. But I find that Kalour pencils tend to work good on all the papers I've been trying them on, which makes them even more worth the money in my opinion. I'm testing out different watercolors and gouaches on top rapidly and seeing if they blend or blur, and they don't seem to. I did some additional tests on that paper off camera, and now I'm going back to the black covered sketchbook from Dollarama and doing a picture that's just going to be purely in the Kalour colored pencils. So that's only going to be done entirely with them, with no watercolor at all. So I got a good public domain reference of a fish, some sort of angelfish. I probably should look up the exact species. And I decided to do that here. Now, aside from the swatches at the very top, I end up making this into a really nice page of random things, just using the Kalour pencils and in some cases, like the eye, a little tiny bit of watercolor. But the swatches in the corner kind of ruin the look of the page. Also, that bird gets replaced by a dragon because I don't like the faint outline of the bird. But here's the thing. Sometimes it's nice to sketch in colored pencils, but they don't erase perfectly, like I said, so there can be some ghosting remaining. You can also cover it over with opaque medium, like you could use acrylic or you could use very opaque gouache to cover over erased colored pencil. In this case, as you can see, I'm using several of the dark pencils here and blending them together. I'm using the black itself, but there's also a very dark earth tone brown, very, very dark brown, dark gray, violet, and dark gray. There's also a color called bronze that's extremely dark, and there's a really dark violet blue and really dark mineral violet in the set as well. So there's some really nice, very dark tones that can function as shades of black, and I find them really helpful. So as you can see, I tried to erase that bird further because I didn't like it and I didn't like the ghosting. And after I erased it further, I'm going in and doing a dragon here. Now I'm using a couple other colored pencils in with the Kalour in this case. So in this one picture here, this one little dragon, I'm testing out how the Kalour mixes with the other pencils, and I'm finding it to be fine because I just wanted the tones to also include some other colors. Also because moving forward, I am going to be using these pencils with all my other brands, so it's good to start testing them sort of right away to see how they work together. And personally, I find it just fine. Now, I'm taking them all out, getting set back up to continue on this page. This is actually after, I think, a couple weeks have passed, and I went back to work on this more. And I've been using one of my Art for Joy's Sake brushes, colored pencil. Well, it's a pencil case, and I put the Kalour pencils in because they all fit in there, and I think it's better than damaging the tips of my paintbrushes by storing them in there. I store the paintbrushes elsewhere. Now I'm looking at a reference of a gazelle, and there's actually a lot of yellowish cream, yellowish tones, like an earth yellow. So I was using the light orange yellow, the autumn gold, and I used the light yellow, which is actually a pale minty green, the pale yellow, some of the green tones as well for the white of the belly, because the original gazelle is in its environment and there's a lot of green grass around. So the reflected light bouncing off the green grass, bouncing onto the bright white belly, makes it not a pure white, makes it have the yellow and the green tones in it, which is something that you want to get in there if you're trying to depict things realistically. I just vaguely indicate the grass. Now I'm just doing some little hearts and checking more about the blending. I'm putting some swirls to link the composition together, and then I'm thinking about what I'm going to put in the top. Now the words and the swatches there kind of make it less of a beautiful overall page, but this is still just a test page. And I decided to go in and do a hippogriff up here based on an old D&D 3.5 edition version of a hippogriff, and I decided to put it behind everything sort of faintly and just add a little bit of shading in to tie everything together. And I feel like sometimes you need to accept the fact that it's just a sketchbook page and maybe some swatches disrupt it. But I think it might have been better on this page if I hadn't done those swatches. But this is just some of the first tests with these pencils. And I'm doing a lot of the rest of this with just the Kalour pencils. And honestly, I really like them. Now I'm testing them on black paper. See, they're very translucent actually when you put them on black paper, which makes me think I would consider these to be more oil-based. I would call them like more of a soft core oil pencil. And I think that they are very good, but it depends on the style you're working in. And it also depends on your preferences. They are not particularly good on black or dark paper because, as you can see, they're quite translucent, so I'm glad I did these tests. Once again, that's all for this video. If you like my videos, please remember to like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell to all notifications so you will know when a new video comes up. I aim for new videos every Wednesday, but sometimes life happens and things are delayed. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you with another one very soon.